Hi, good afternoon. This is a recording of our week 2 lecture in textiles class. I was hoping that I might have some students join me today, but it looks like it just didn't work in anyone's schedule. So I'm going to go ahead and record it. That way you all can view it, do the assignment to it in order to get your points. If you don't do the assignment and turn it in, whether you viewed it or not, I don't know that you have, so I cannot give you the 10 points for the attendance. All right, so I'm going to share our slideshow to talk about the things this week in textiles class. The rest of the attendance for each week is your forum discussion. Please do not forget to take part in that. Actually, you have Thursday to make your initial post. If you haven't, then you will lose points on that deadline. You have until Sunday to do the overall or the reply post to the other student in the class or any of the other previously posted items. The foreign discussions are worth 25 points to your overall grade, and by missing those, that can very majorly impact your overall grade. It can bring you down a whole grade level. And the live lectures are really important. I like to have this opportunity to get to know each of you online and answer any of your questions, because I'm sure as you're going through lessons, there are some things that you'd benefit by me being able to answer and clarify for you. All right, week 2, you're going to learn how to take all those fibers you learned about in week 1. Each of them have their own characteristics, and those characteristics of each of those types of fibers, let's say cotton, its absorbency, its easy care, its ability to take hot temperatures, will continue through to the end product of whatever those cotton fibers go into. Polyester fibers, they resist wrinkling. They are easy, again, to care for, but they are sensitive to heat, hot temperatures. Those, again, characteristics will carry through to the end fabric or product. So you're going to learn how are those fibers assembled into something that then can be made into a fabric. So they are assembled into a yarn. There's lots of different types of yarns. You have an entire chapter focused on that. So it's very important because the characteristics of those yarns affect the characteristics, the texture, the surface, look, and feel of the fabrics. Then, closer look at how fabrics are made. Woven fabrics, they do not tend to stretch at all, whereas knitted fabrics do. And there's different looks, different end needs, requirements, expectations for each of these types of fabrics. We also have a third chapter on what gets lumped together as other fabrics. Other fabrics can be a fabric that is made from two fabrics being bonded together in some sort of way. Other fabrics also include our leathers and suedes and furs because they aren't woven or knitted in order to create those. So the real deal, of course, man-made ones, they are knitted or woven. But the other fabrics is a great section as well. So understanding this, I've already talked about how that fiber has its unique characteristics and follows the product through all the way to its end use. By combining different types of fibers, you get the best of both worlds. You bring the desirable qualities of those fibers together. They might cancel out the negative or not so great qualities of the additive fibers in the items, but they also might minimize maybe the good. So it's always a compromise of balance. The yarns used and the way the yarns are then assembled into a fabric. Even with woven fabrics, not all wovens are the same. Same thing with a knit, but depending on what the yarn was like to begin with, that also affects it. Next week, you will get into learning about finishes that are applied to fabric after it's been woven or knitted. And again, that too can impact the final result of the product. But, prior to it even arriving to that stage, a lot of the characteristics that you're going to study this week and did last week with the fiber characteristics, those apply. And you need to know these as a designer, because when you need to search for certain kind of fabrics, you need to know what it is you're searching for. You have to be able to identify, describe it. When you type in something into a Google search, even if you talk to someone on the phone trying to describe it, you need to know these ways in which to describe and explain what it is you're looking for. Because you will be sourcing things on the internet and overline. You can't find them all in one given fabric store. The swatch kit that is also part of your textbooks comes into play more this week and next week than it really did in week 1. So, don't be alarmed if you haven't got it fully assembled. Stick with it and make sure you do get those pieces in there according to the correct numerical sequential order. And I do have a reference book on my Course Connection that at least shows the pictures of the fabrics lined up with the numbers. That should, most of them all match the same swatches you have. Whenever the manufacturer or provider of this kit might run out of one, they may replace that fabric maybe in a different colorway, but it's still the same essential fabric. It might just look a little different than my picture. And like I said, this comes into play more and more these next 2 weeks, because in your reading, it may reference, go look at swatch number 35 and compare it to swatch number 48. And in doing so, you're going to learn a lot about the yarns. It'll have you maybe unravel a yarn, 2 yarns from each direction of the cut sample, and really look at them. Use that little microscope glass, that pick glass that comes with it. You open it up and look through that magnifying glass so you can see it up close. But it really begins to give you an example of what is a textured filament yarn, what is a spun yarn, what is a combed and a worsted wool or cotton yarns. And that way, when you hear these words about those yarns, you have an expectation of knowing what the yarn's going to look like. And because of the way that yarn looks, it's going to affect what the fabric is going to look like. All right, so these are the chapters that I've already touched base on, the topics that are covered, so they coincide with the chapters. That will be 5, 6, 7, and 8 that you will be reading this week. All right, here are some examples of different yarns, some pictures of yarn being spun up in factories. Those are the different fibers. You can combine different fibers. You can twist it up into the yarn. There's different, you can twist it one direction, you can twist it the other direction. You can take even 2 twisted yarns and twist them together, and that is where plies of yarn come into effect. Composite yarns are ones that combine fibers of different natures. Simple and fancy yarns, and then specialized yarns. So you'll be reading about those. Woven fabrics, you're going to take a look at the looms. That is the type of machinery that you need in order to weave a fabric. And looms were created back in ancient times. There's depictions in Egyptian art that show people using a loom to weave fabric. And we know it because of, some of the wrappings for mummies have survived through time. And so we know those were woven together. It's a very, very old technology. But it has been brought more advanced over the centuries and millennia to fancier weaves. And computers these days can even control those fancier weaves more and more. So you'll take a look at that and the type of looms that fancy weaves are done on, and the names of weaves. The names are very important to get familiar with, because that may be the way that you need to describe a fabric when you go online to do a search. If I say denim, you have a pretty good idea of what that means. But if I said a gabardine, you might not be so familiar with that right now, but you do have a swatch in your textbook, or I'm sorry, in the kit book. You'll have description in the textbook, so hopefully you get more familiar with that. And as you learn these names of fabrics, look for them in the fabric store, because many times at the end of the bolt they will describe what that fabric is. Here's an example of knit fabric. And knit fabric has a stretch in its characteristic, and it's because of these little V shapes and these loops. They're interlooped together, and you can take and stretch that. Think of it like a long piece of spaghetti. Well, if it's all looped up together, you can stretch it out straight, and it gets longer when you do that. And that's what's happening basically with a knit fabric. So you're going to look at the characteristics of knit fabrics. The typical type of yarns used in knit fabric tend to be a fluffier, spun, loftier type of yarn. So knit fabrics don't tend to show wrinkles as often as a woven fabric. But all of that will be covered in your reading. I have a little video here that I will play. I hope that it'll play and record the volume on that. If not, I do believe I still have this link resource on my course connection, so you can watch it from there. But the Masood textile mill incorporates everything from the beginning stages to an end product. So they are a fully vertical production entity or company, because it takes it from fiber to end product. Not all factories do that. They may just focus on twisting up the yarns, making the yarns, or maybe just woven fabrics or just knitted fabrics. So I'm going to let this run for a minute.
Masood Textile Mills Limited. Masood Textile is the largest vertically integrated knitwear textile mills in Pakistan, possessing complete in-house processes ranging from spinning, knitting, processing, and apparel manufacturing. Being vertical provides Masood a clear edge towards brisk lead times, better controls, and flexibility in operations to yield customer satisfaction. The cotton bales are inspected after mixing to remove all cotton impurities to minimize contamination. A sophisticated and state-of-the-art spinning division at Masood comprises of latest Japanese, British, and Swiss machinery to produce yarn counts ranging from 10s to 40s, with a capacity of producing 25,000 pounds of carded and 10,000 pounds of combed ring-spun yarn. A qualified and trained team equipped with the most modern testing capability ensures finest quality yarn. Spinning lab equipped with latest Ooster and Classamid testing instruments reassures enduring and consistent yarn quality, thus providing essential reliability in output. The knitting at Masood is fairly large and flexible, equipped with a range of latest single and double knit, auto stripers, jacquard, and flat knit machines. Special lycra attachments provide added diversity. Each roll of fabric knitted at Masood is inspected by trained and skilled QC inspectors. Matsua dual carriage flat knitting machines are best suited for non-roll collars, special collar shapes, and single and multicolor jacquard designs. The dye house, equipped with computerized German Thiess dyeing machines, upshades the highest fastness with minimal fabric distortion. The dye house has a capacity of over 60 tons per day of cotton and polycotton blends of fabric. The machine capacities range from 200 pounds to 2,000 pounds per dye lot for flexible batch size. A reverse osmosis plant provides quality water to ensure the quality of dyeing and other processes. The dyeing lab prepares recipes on AHIBA infrared computerized dyeing machines and a conditioning machine to replicate the same dyeing program every time in bulk. This adds precision to the shade continuities. A separate conditioning room provides simulation of conditioning lab. Photospectrometers, quick shrinkage, and torque testing equipment help in quick and correct decision making. Finishing department possesses latest Swiss Sandtex finishing lines having stenters, hydro extractors, dryers, and compactors for tubular as well as open width fabrics. The computerized equipment helps controlling the parameters of fabric stability and hand feel. Lamperti sueding equipment with nylon brushing technology provides Masood an edge to offer vast variety of delicate knitted fabrics to the customers. Masood's Laundry offers garments dyeing, sprays, washes, special effects, and treatments. Masood, a socially responsible corporate citizen of the world, is very cautious on environment. Wastewater and effluent treatment plant is in place to treat the wastewater for all hazardous matters. Masood's centralized cutting department has been designed and equipped to suit the versatile variety of fabrics and garment styles. The trial shop assures a complete pre-production trial run, pattern verification, sewing operation tests, accessories, and packing before giving a go-ahead for bulk cutting. Gerber equipment comprising of latest models of GGT AutoCAD, auto spreaders, auto cutters, and vacuum tables provide precision to the markers for cutting. The intelligent power tools prevent the shapes and edges from distortion. AutoCAD connected with cutters through LAN provides a continuous supervision and check on accuracy. The Bi-Ribi die cutting machine is highly productive for basic garments. An inline QC team verifies random shapes with hard patterns to ensure zero defects. The GMA 20-head 6-color machines provide in-house embroidery capacities to produce all kinds of direct and applique embroideries. Research is essential for innovation and sustainability. Masood has developed an exceptional R&D library backed by a professional team working continuously on improvements to satisfy novel demands of today's global customers. Sophisticated and distinctive ERP systems provide an edge to the diversity of Masood apparel facilities. Online merchandising and production database, human resource management systems, and an effective backtrack system add excellence to a paperless environment, besides providing effective controls to achieve optimum efficiencies. Online backtrack system is one of its kind. Each garment carries a unique ID by which every single garment can be tracked back from cotton crop till packing. It also identifies the people responsible for a certain fault to prevent recurrence. The merchandising teams are supported by dedicated, efficient, and quick-to-react sample rooms that provide diversity with capacity to meet short lead time requirements. Coupled with a fashion designing team, the garment R&D provides a strong support to our customers. A continuous flow of skilled stitching operators is taken care by a specially created training center. So far, this training center has produced over 1,200 skilled and certified people in various areas. Masood has 6 sewing facilities covering a flexible blend of variable stitching styles and articles as and when desired by the customers. Automated garment transportation system provided by Eton supports the productivity, efficiency, quality, and discipline to the sewing. The stitching setup is capable to produce about 5 to 6 million finest quality garments every month. Separate and specialized sewing facilities have been dedicated for sportswear, activewear, sleepwear, loungewear, and underwear programs. Special equipment has been installed for flawless heat transfer labels, auto thread trimming, and fusing. Each garment is inspected 100% before packing. A team of trained QC inspectors make sure that only quality product is passed for packing, followed by a random quality assurance audit of packed goods. The packing staff is hired and trained with a special focus to safeguard any wrong color or size garment. A special pick and pack section has recently been added to facilitate and handle variations of catalog and assortments. Masood has an in-house facility to print the ASN and carton labels as well. The audited finished goods are moved to the shipment warehouse. The carton barcodes help maintaining a clear visibility for shipping as well as the customer's warehouses. Through his model, Masood delivers the goods across stateside within 12 days of EDI-generated PO with 100% fill rates. The direct-to-store service is being provided to other textile companies of the region as well.
So other fabrics will include your fabrics from solutions and fibers, fabrics from yarns, but they are not necessarily knitted or woven, fabrics that are made from other fabrics, and then our animal product items. And one last video here for you all. This is the Jacquard project. It is an expansion of incorporating technology in with woven or knitted fabrics in order to introduce other capabilities to clothing, which in many ways I think could be our next frontier in textiles. This is a shorter video.
What I find fascinating about textiles is the structure of textiles. It's the same to the structure of touchscreens, which we're using in everyday mobile devices and tablets. That means that if you just replace some of the threads in textile with conductive threads, you should be able to weave the textile, which can recognize a variety of simple touch gestures, just like any normal touch panel you have on a mobile phone. So if you can hide or weave interactivity and input devices into the material, that will be the first step to making computers and computing invisibly integrated into the objects and materials and clothing. So this is exciting to me. The challenge of creating Jacquard yarn was to create yarn that is highly conductive and at the same time scalable, which means it could be used on industrial weaving machines everywhere in the world.
For textile designers or fashion designers or furniture designers, it is interesting because it's something you are very familiar with. It's just textile. We made the yarn very thin and feels so natural, so it looks like just normal yarn. The only thing different is it's conductive. We work with textile designers from all over the world, and it's really interesting to see what kind of possibilities that we can have. It could be visible, very obviously, like it's here. It also can be totally invisible. So we're creating possibilities by combining different way of weaving technique, and that's totally up to designers to choose, and it's up to their creativity.
We are trying to shrink down all the components down to the size of a button. And ultimately, this will be something that's so small we can embed into the manufacturing process. So the users won't even see it or feel it inside the garment.
The idea that jacquard is an interface that is blended into the clothing that we wear, that has an implication in the way that you would use services, products, applications, and anything that we do through our devices. It's somehow getting the technology out of the way and making interactions more natural and more seamless.
In terms of what the technology can do, it's really up to the user and to the designers, and we expect that users can reconfigure it as much as they want to. Software development and fashion design often don't exist in the same place, so we're hoping to make it very simple for each of those parties to collaborate, and we're hoping to provide both software and hardware knowledge and components to make those collaborations very easy.
We like to think that we have these iconic products that haven't changed much, but the world is changing. So I think jacquard presents a great opportunity for brand, for design, to open a door to the future.
In tailoring, we use methods that have been used and not changed for 200 years. So when something new comes along, it's really exciting. What's amazing about the project is that I don't have to have any knowledge about the electronics and how it works. So let's see what we can create with it. Jacquard is a blank canvas for designers and developers. We are just at the beginning, and we are really excited to see what people are going to do with it.
All right. Last slide here to show you some of the projects that you'll get to do with hands-on, which is a weaving project. It is done with paper, so you can get an idea of the combination of yarns over and under and how wovens are made. These are provided in the kit, in the big box you got, that they're already printed out for you. All right. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to finish the assignment by writing up a summary of what was covered in this lesson. Please let me know if you have any questions this week. Bye.